Joe Flacco sends clear message to Aaron Rodgers by showing true character to Shedeu. When the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers, they already had a legendary QB, Brett Favre, Eka the Gunslinger. But he was not happy with the franchise bringing in a young rookie, and he did not help A-Rod. Now he could have been angry over this, but the veteran chose another path. Even now, in the final stage of his career, he is ready to mentor young players. A similar situation is brewing in the Browns. Their QB, Joe Flacco, wants to play for his team. They want him to carry an additional responsibility. Mentor young players. But wait, there's a twist. The Steelers drafted Ohio State QB Will Howard in the 6th round, 185th overall. The Browns went for Oregon QB Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round, 94th round, while also going for the famous Buffalo's QB Shedeu in the 5th round, 144th overall. However, Rodgers claimed that he will also mentor Howard while playing as the starter. It forced Flacco to advise him on how to answer such questions. A few weeks ago, when the Browns veteran was asked the same question, he replied, "No matter how they answer, it kind of makes the guy who answers it look bad. If I say I don't want to be a mentor, it makes me look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, I look like an idiot who doesn't want to be good at playing football." These are not words. It seems like a subtle advice to Aaron Rodgers. Both of them want to play in the league for as many years, but their careers are in the ending stage. So he rightly said that the question was a bait for the older players. The 40-year-old has had enough of the same question being asked again in different interviews. He is here to play, but the media wants to build up the narrative of him being a mentor. Joe Flacco keeps it real for Shedeu. On the 2nd day of the Browns' OTAs in May, he came with the intent of sealing the starter position. Joe Flacco went 9 of 14 for a TD. Fine, not glowing. Meanwhile, rookie Dillon Gabriel went 11 of 16 with 2 scores. Shedeu lit it up with 7 of 9, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Instead of questions based on his performance, the media kept frustrating Joe Flacco with questions about mentoring. While talking about the rookies, he kept it 100 and replied, "I play football. And in a quarterback room, there have already been a ton of learning experiences. I can talk about things and hopefully they listen. But it's not my job to make sure they do." That's as honest as any player could get. He neither gave the rookies any false hope nor denied them the chance to learn. But he also drew the line where it needed to be. They have to grasp the nuances of competition on their own. That's the hard truth. It's the reality of the game. This isn't college anymore. Whether he likes it or not, he's probably both a mentor and a competitor. But when it comes to accepting his role, he's made it clear. He's still a player, and he's ready to go. The Cleveland Browns locker room hummed with off-season energy. Veterans nodded to rookies. Helmets glistened beneath stadium lights, and cleats echoed like distant drums across concrete floors. Shedeu sat quietly in front of his locker. His fingers rolled a football back and forth across his palms, a leather worn slightly from weeks of minicamp. Around him, voices buzzed, some doubting, some supportive. But the most interesting whispers weren't about playbooks or position battles. They were about the quiet bond forming between 2 quarterbacks, one a young upstart still finding his footing, and the other a Super Bowl champion long thought to be past his prime. Joe Flacco. At 40 years old, Flacco moved like time owed him nothing. There was no flash, no theatrics, but in an age of egos and headlines, it was his calm, measured presence that turned heads. He doesn't talk much, Shedeu had told one reporter. But when he does, you better listen. Rodgers, over in New York, was a different story entirely. Headlines followed him like shadows. Cryptic interviews, controversial sound bites, and self-ordained wisdom that rubbed many the wrong way. The league had seen stars who mentored and stars who monopolized. Rodgers was the latter, and Shedeu, who'd grown up in the glare of his father Deion Sanders' spotlight, knew the difference. Joe Flacco wasn't trying to stay relevant. He was trying to do right. It was day 6 of training camp when the first incident occurred. The Browns were running red zone drills. Flacco took the first reps. Shedeu, clipboard in hand, stood behind him with quarterbacks coach Alex Van Pelt. Flacco's throw missed high on a corner route. Instead of cursing or blaming the receiver, he jogged it over to Shedeu. "You see that?" he asked calmly. Shedeu blinked. "Yeah, you missed it." Flacco nodded. "I did, but I want you to tell me why." The rookie paused, then studied the route. "Timing. You threw it a half step early."